folks. We are back again. Another Wrestle Purist podcast. It is Dynamite Day. There is excitement in the air. There are, much speculation about things that have not been reported anywhere, but people are getting excited about it anyway because it's Dynamite Day. That's what we do on Wednesdays, right? We've got a lot to talk about, some big stories to get into, some that we kind of touched on Monday and Tuesday. We have updates on, so on and so forth. Before we get to those stories, Manny, how are you this evening, pal?
I'm doing great. Just fired up.
You are. You warned us you were fired up, and as you know, Monty and I can be accused of many things as podcasts. Being fired up is very seldom one of our kind of traits. So it's good to have some energy around the place. I like it. Monty, how are you this evening?
Same old. I'm good.
Good.
You know,
good.
Easy going.
All right, good. Okay, let me just. All right, so we have some news. We have a lot of news. That's kind of the idea of this show, right?
I mean, kind of.
Yesterday,
I guess.
So our initial update on Cesaro was that he had logged into Twitter and posted a picture of himself.
Yes.
We may have actual news on him now. Is that what I'm hearing? Am I correct, Monty?
I mean, it's more interesting than yesterday's, but it's not really anything to do with a debut or anything like that. So I guess it's something. I'll pull it up right now, in fact.
Okay.
So you can say it's pretty much like usually you don't see an update like that unless he might be debuting pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Fireful Select, of course, said they've got an update on Claudio Castagnoli, and it's basically that he's priced out a bunch of he's priced himself out of bookings because it seems like he just wants to stay at home. That isn't literally what it says word for word. What it does say is Fightful has been told by several promoters that they've made efforts to reach out to Cesaro and book him for both wrestling appearances and signings, but as of yet, he's not accepted, and many others say he just outright hasn't. They haven't heard back from him as of yet. Many promoters that we spoke to say Cesaro was priced out of some potential bookings and would not be able to land him until the asking price came down back to earth. So, yeah, man, he's it doesn't seem like he's either already got something planned, or he's Sean does go on to mention in the select report that there has been wrestlers over recently that after they've left WWE they've kind of deliberately priced themselves out so they're not getting they appreciate the break. Obviously, a lot of them, guys like Cesaro, who were featured prominently on the main roster on TV most weeks, they were on the road working that brutal WWE schedule that everyone hears about. So,
Indeed. I do feel, though, that Manny may be onto something immediately in terms of I think maybe able to kind of guess some stuff off this. Manny, you kind of alluded to you may have something fast ahead. Are you thinking of a certain tournament spot that we have been speculating about by any chance?
Yeah, I mean, they announced the Joker last week, and then as soon as they announced it, there was so much fire to Cesaro's name, and then now this update. I mean,
yeah,
I think he'll be in Houston next week,
which is awesome. Obviously,
of course.
I think a big part of the pricing thing too is if he's going to debut a new brand. Now, to be clear, what I mean by that, I think he's going to be Claudio Castagnoli, but what I mean is he's going to have like a logo and, all that shit, and the shirts are going to come out. Like, you probably then want to eventually start doing the bookings. You don't want your first thing to be like, I saw it with my guy Buddy. He did this, don't do what he did. His first thing was like, he's working like in North Carolina next week. And it's like, not much use to that, right? I think he wants the big kind of coming out party on the on TV, and then he can do some other stuff. But honestly, the AEW schedule ain't crazy, but you're still traveling once a week. So he may not be rushing to do that stuff anyway. Monty, what's your read on this? Are we going to get Cesaro showing up pretty soon here on TV, do you think?
Someone said in the chat that the timing of this report was suspect, and I completely get what they're saying because Sean Rossap does kind of have a habit for if he's kind of got a hunch about something but he hasn't got it confirmed, he'll just kind of throw a report out there the day of. The next thing you know, when it's when the person does eventually debut, he's at least touched on it. You know what I mean?
He does that with a lot.
Yeah, he does it a lot. He does it a lot. So I am kind of with the comment that the timing of this report was extremely.
There's an angle tonight. You know that, right? Like, yes. We're talking about the Owen and we're talking about the Joker, but there's an angle tonight involving a dude who actually just did an interview with Sean Ross Sapp and talked about Claudio in that interview, and has spent about 10 years now pretending he hates this man to set up a feud that we weren't sure was ever going to happen, or to continue a feud that did happen and was great. But look, I'm not saying he'll be there, but like, it wouldn't surprise me. I'll put it that way.
My favorite thing too is when he posted that picture of him in the suit, and then everybody's like checking the suit, and they found a picture of him with that famous picture with him in Kingston.
It's the picture,
and he's wearing
the picture. He knows what he's doing.
And then at the bottom it says Elite Photos. You guys see that, like in the tag, and they spell Elite with ILLITE.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Now, what I do want to get into here, because we're going to kind of talk about these topics in a little more detail and stuff. This story, as you guys have touched on, is a little that could prove to be a lot, depending on what happens shortly here in Cesaro's kind of decision making and such. But let's talk about what that looks like. Claudio Castagnoli back in the wider wrestling world. I mean, he was in WWE for legitimately like 12 years, right? 11 years, like a real run. I think it's 10 actually, but. What do we think? Where does he fit in an AEW, Manny? Because I'm just interested because he's one of my favorite guys. Okay, I think everyone likes Claudio, but the roster's crazy, and I'm just interested what it looks like. So, Manny, I wanted to kind of get your read on that. What do you think?
The thing is, like, he doesn't really fit into like the whole thing. He's just like one of those guys you just throw out there and have like all these awesome matches. Like, you say if he beats Samoa Joe. Which I think he would. Imagine like the match he's gonna have with Kyle or Ray Phoenix, especially if you can throw Ray Phoenix around. And then say if I think Cole's gonna be the winner on the other side. But imagine if Darby just happens to get through, so then you get Darby versus Cesaro. So it's like, but I think if he's
my bad, I froze. Carry on, Manny. My bad.
So yeah, I think he's gonna be just one of these guys you just put out there and have good matches. That, or you can just put him in the BCC. That would be
something for sure.
That'd be awesome if he's the Punk's heater.
Yeah, he's just like, he's so easy to talk yourself into these roles because he's so great. Yeah, I will say that unless Cole is winning the whole thing, which I think he might be, like Darby and Claudio is insane. You have to do that match. That's one of the most ridiculous things of it. That sounds like a video game deal. Monty, where are you at on this subject? You dismissed it when I brought it up here. You kind of scoffed. What are we talking about?
Because I think Cesaro, as you said, he's been in WWE for a minute, and then as soon as he's back out, and you've given him the right dance partner in the right setting, like, he's going to remind you who the fuck Claudio Castagnoli is. People are going to be calling him the best in the world within. If he debuts tonight, people are going to be calling him like top 5 in the world in about 3 months. Like, he's that good. He's a freak, man. Yeah. Like, even if they put him in a role where he's kind of just a guy just there to have great matches, he will just get himself over because he's just that good. So, man, he's definitely someone I want to see, on a big time setting. Obviously, that just means AEW or WWE.
Yeah. Another one of these things too is like, he's probably not going to be like an AEW guy. He's going to be like an ROH kind of guy too.
How about some New Japan? I mean,
that would just be,
he feels like a natural fit. Like, honestly, and this is kind of weird because, like, at this point in his life, I don't know if he wants to do those tours, right? Like, it's hard. It's easy for us to say it, but Harold Claudio, he looks incredible. I think he's 40, right? He has to be 40 at this point.
I feel like a lot of these AEW wrestlers, they don't really want to do the tours. They just want to do the big New Japan shows.
Yeah, exactly. But if all things were equal, okay, and you could just put him in it. I genuinely think his ceiling is highest as like a full-time New Japan guy. I think he would be ridiculous there. Like, he could probably be one of their top guys, honestly. Again, I don't think that's going to happen because there's a lot of different circumstances, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, in AEW, I think he would be like his highest ceiling would be a TNT champ or even like a Trios champ. But then if he does the ROH thing like what Joe's doing, or that room, the other rumor name where everybody's freaking out this morning over.
Yeah,
fantasy booking takeover matches in Hondo or nothing. Shingo.
Yeah, I saw. Let's actually talk about it a little bit because the one thing we wanted to do with this show is the news. But there are certain. I know that you, Monty, you love like the way the discourse heats up on Twitter, right? Like, you can take something that's not even a thing, And like, I did a show earlier today, and I got off. Someone asked about Gargano and Cole was like the Owen final, and I was like, I'm not really into it. No one in the chat cared. I just moved on. And I go on Twitter, and there's like 10 tweets about this. Like, oh my god, like what's happening? I don't want to see this. And there's other people firing back, being like, it would be awesome. And I was like, is there any report about this? Was it no?
No,
They were just talking.
Did you see the tweet though? How it got it started?
No, I did not see
So
that.
It was a video of the control room thing that Tony does, and what they did was they clipped the two world champion. There's 3 world champs or whatever in the video, and then in the finals. So in the context of the clip, they're talking about the women. There's 3 women champs in the tournament, and then there's a surprise Joker. So they only clipped out that part where saying there's 2 champs that are going to be in the finals for the Joker or whatever. So that's where people ran off with it.
Oh, so the idea being that if it was champs, then Claudio would be off the board immediately anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of.
So
I'll be honest.
I was going to clip the whole thing and post it on Twitter, but then I was like, that's no point. Everybody already thinks it's Gargano.
Yeah. I like Johnny Gargano. I think he has a place in AEW. If he comes in and beats Samoa Joe in his first match, I'm calling the police.
As soon as I saw because I didn't see the clip beforehand, I just saw everybody talking about Johnny, so I was just like, Samoa Joe versus Johnny. I kind of talked myself into it. I was like, man, this match is gonna be. I was like, man, this match is gonna be so awesome. And then I really thought about it. I was like, well, I don't know if I want Johnny to beat Samoa Joe.
Exactly right. It's just weird. Like, if the thing with Claudio is, he's obviously not had the career Joe's had in terms of push, but he very much feels like Joe's peer. But they feel like they're both from that, they've got the same kind of core ingredients there. And it's like him coming in and beating Joe I'd be like all in on that. And they shake hands after, and it's like, run it back for the TV title or some shit. But Johnny's just, I don't know, man. I ain't rushing to see him beat Samoa Joe. That's just me.
I've seen people say that Johnny wouldn't be over. Like, he would have a hard time getting over in AEW. But if you look at Johnny's career, he's gone over everywhere he's been. Like, he got over in Dragon Gate, being a babyface heel. He got over in Evolve. He got over in NXT when they weren't really going to push him like that. So I'm like, he's going to come in AEW. He's going to get over somehow. If people don't want to get him.
Look, maybe I'm being too positive about it, but I don't even think he'd have to get over. I think he'd be over on arrival.
Yeah.
I really believe it. I think he would come out and the place would go crazy because that crowd remembers shit, man. Like, it's not been that long, right? How long has he been off TV? 5 months? 6 months?
Yeah,
people remember.
The AEW audience, they know all about Black and Gold at NXT. But one of the biggest pots they've done is fucking for Adam Cole. He was on WWE TV twice or something.
Just remember that crowd going nuts for him in Cleveland, and he didn't even debut. Like, they were just chanting his name.
They got Danhausen.
Yeah.
We'll get to Danhausen later on. Good stuff. All right. So we'll circle back. This Claudio thing, Cesaro thing is going to be a topic we're putting in a cover, in real time, all the ups and downs of it. So let's move forward here to a bizarre story that we talked about. And I don't think that word really does it justice, but Kota Ibushi's he's going through some stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. Monty, what have we got to this point? Help us out here.
We have a lot. Obviously, we talked about much of it yesterday. So yesterday was when all the tweets started. And, Kota Ibushi didn't seem happy, to say the least. He said he was going to expose people, mentioned sexual harassment, harassing bosses, lies, unreasonable power, all these kind of almost cryptic tweets, but there was definitely something up. He was replying to fans, clearly expressing his, displeasure. Then he started tweeting screenshots with New Japan officials of him potentially leaving New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Then basically most of the reaction to it was just confusion, really. A lot of people are like, what is going on? And then late on, it was I think it was halfway through NXT. I was trying to watch NXT, then this Voices of Wrestling report dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And it contained a lot, to say the least. It was very loaded. So to start off with, according to multiple sources, the tweets are not at work. There is massive heat between Ibushi and Kikuchi, who is the New Japan official in question, going back several years, beginning around 2018, when Ibushi alleged Kikuchi, who at the time was running New Japan's merchandise, was shorting him on merch money. But that's not everything. It's far from everything. So Kikuchi is now dealing with talent relations in New Japan, apparently. And according to a source close to Ibushi, while in talent relations position, Kikuchi is gained a rep for being for exploiting wrestlers, being unfair to wrestlers, and being very old school. Kikuchi is very strict about maintaining kayfabe, including not wanting wrestlers to be being seen with wrestlers from opposing units in the public. Once once got onto Ibushi's case for being spotted as a bench press spotter for a heel wrestler in a public gym. Very old school. Kikuchi is also very strict about the younger, good-looking wrestlers keeping their romantic relationships private, fearing a loss in markability to the female audience. The source noted that the strict policies would be one thing, but that Kikuchi enforces them selectively and unfairly, and this seems to be the big problem regarding Ibushi.
That's nuts, man. Like the philosophy itself is, in this day and age, is going to be like a problem for some guys. But just picking and choosing makes it legitimately insane.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And it just gets even crazier, to be honest. So, as some people may remember, a few weeks prior to the Wrestle Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome, last summer, Ibushi fell ill with aspiration pneumonia, but he told the office that he wanted to move forward and wrestle his main event match versus Shingo Takagi because he's a maniac. Kikuchi made the call not to allow him to wrestle based on him not being medically cleared, but Ibushi felt this was another example of Kikuchi being unfair towards him, especially when 6 months later, Kikuchi allowed Shibata to return at Wrestle Kingdom, despite Shibata also never being fully cleared by doctors. Which is
This story is crazy because there's like a whole bunch of big stories within like this major
layers, man. It's a lot of stuff seems to just have all unraveled in the space of 24 hours. After Ibushi injured his shoulder in a G1 final in October, as many may remember, Kikuchi told Ibushi that he needed to get back in time for Wrestle Kingdom using what Ibushi considered a disrespectful tone. Ibushi didn't want to wrestle until his shoulder fully healed. Fair.
That's brutal.
Then moving on, this is what I'm saying. There's just so much to it. 2 months later, Ibushi told the office he was feeling good and ready to go for the New Japan Cup. Gaito not only booked him for the tour, but Ishii was also the planned winner. If just to get the pop in, Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best Brits in the world, happened to win that tournament in the end. Kikuchi, on the advice of a doctor who raised what was described as a minor concern, pulled Ibushi from the tour, infuriating.
That's the weirdest part. That's like, we talked yesterday about the general belief that there was like an issue with Kota Finlay was being rushed, which is in this story. But then there's also the complete opposite in the same story. If there was another occasion, in fact, it was the New Japan Cup where he was ready and Kikuchi pulled him. So that's a bizarre deal.
Like, and it's weird too because I saw another thing saying, well, he was mad because he's saying he's not even 100% ready. He's like 67, and and they pulled him. So I'm like, well, where is it?
Yeah,
like, is he ready? Not ready, or is he just not want to wrestle?
Well, another layer. So the Voices of Wrestling report does touch on that because, of course, I think most people who remember Ibushi's post on, I think it was Twitter or Instagram, one of them, about him saying he was only 65%. Apparently, Ibushi's tweet on March 16th saying his shoulder was at 65%, along with going back and forth bantering with Great O'Khan, is believed to be a kayfabe response to an O'Khan promo, as Ibushi had been set to face O'Khan in the tournament and then feud with him throughout the year. So that would address that bit of confusion. Yes. So, like I said, this is very, very, very layered, seemingly detailed report, if true, of course. And and this is when it kind of gets even weirder. Ibushi has at times warned younger wrestlers to stay away from Kikuchi, Taka Michinoku, and Taichi, referring to them as the Cheaters Gang, describing them as people who will not only cheat you out of money but also cheat on their wives. After Kikuchi threatened to fire Ibushi, Ibushi threatened to expose Kikuchi's extramarital affairs publicly. Even though a good portion of the crew dislikes Kikuchi, there is some heat on Ibushi for taking the dirty laundry public, with the feeling that he should have taken it up with the Bushi Road office instead.
That's just nasty.
Yeah. then just to finish it up, basically the core of Ibushi's problems seem to just be that it's a double standards thing and unfair treatment. So yeah, like I said, a very loaded report. There is many things in that we could spend a long time talking about. Especially like the Shibata thing, like because so much has come out, like that Shibata story would be like a story of the week in other cases, especially obviously amongst the Japanese wrestling fans, because like even remember when the report came out after Wrestle Kingdom regarding a Shibata match that apparently he just went into business for himself and he just wrestled the match that he felt like he wanted to wrestle, which was like I said, that was that was big news, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
that makes it less surprising to me, I must say.
I thought that was awesome in real time, and then now reading this report saying that he wasn't even cleared, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't that awesome after all.
It's hard to say, right?
He's fucking just nuts, isn't it?
He always has been.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, he's just fucking just like I don't think nuts does the right word. Like, he's so like
he's a wild
savage.
Card.
Like
he's a wild card. Yeah, he's he's ripped, man. Like the Tanahashi thing. Like a lot of that was true. Like, he just like bounced and wouldn't do MMA fights, and he wasn't very good at MMA, but he just kept fighting because fuck it, right? I'm gonna be right in the end, and like. When he came back, there was a lot of resentment there, and
he had the craziest start to an MMA fight I've ever seen. He just ran from the other side of the ring and just did a drop kick.
Yeah, he was very, very wild, and I'm based on some of these stories, I assume he still is. I don't know, but yeah, that is a big story within there. There's a lot there. It's hard to honestly, it's hard to tackle it. I don't know, Manny. What do you think of it? I mean, best you can, because I don't have a lot here. What do you think?
Like my two biggest takeaways is just like. Imagine how bad of cheaters you have to be to get that name, and then and the other big story that a lot of AEW fans, especially Murph, were like pumping their fist at were about that because there was that rumored for a long time saying that Kota and Kenny had a fallout because of the merch, and it turns out that it wasn't the Elite's fault. It was the New Japan office not wanting to pay Kota for the golden elite shirts.
Yeah, because Ibushi felt like he was owed money through the Bullet Club shirt sales and stuff because he was part of the golden elite. I mean, yeah, man, the merch thing's definitely interesting as well, because didn't the Young Bucks have a problem with New Japan regarding merch as well?
100. Gallows and Anderson say they don't think they made any money from those shirts, and they left in 2016. So. Yeah, that's been a problem with the Elite guys the Bullet Club guys forever.
I remember. I don't know if because you want. I bet you listen to Talking Shop more than I do now. But I remember. I don't know if it was the Bucks or Anderson. They were saying the story that they were going to go in all together and get the trademark and the image for it, but then they decided not to because they didn't want to get the office mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a whole thing,
and it backfired on them quick because then they realized how much money they made and they didn't get a penny of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because. A lot of this stuff comes out after because when you're doing the gimmick, right? Like the thing they were going for, they was like the coolest guys in wrestling, right? You can't be doing that shtick and talking about, fuck, we ain't getting none of this money. So they just they talk about it now, and it's like they were getting screwed on those. And that's some old school, like, Carney bullshit, by the way. Like, what the fuck, man? Imagine upsetting one of your tippy top guys because you didn't pay them for their fucking t-shirt rule. He's like, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous. But I don't know.
Insanity. I think go ahead.
Another thing too about Ibushi was mad because he went to a Taka show as a fan. I think that's the name of the promotion, like a Taka show, and he got New Japan office got mad at him because he was seen in public watching their show, and then even though like other wrestlers did it before and it wasn't an issue, but they called him out on it. Even so, I saw one of his tweets saying that I guess he does a podcast for New Japan that I never knew he did, and supposedly like he was going like they put more goons in the room, so make sure that Bushi wouldn't go out of line in the podcast. So I'm like, man, that's crazy.
Incredible.
It sure seems like he's not going to be there for much longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's too much. It's just it's like him saying, "No, I've had enough." Do you know what I mean? Like this is he's gone off the cliff.
Did you see the response that the Great O'Khan did to one of the tweets?
No.
Supposedly, I guess he quote tweeted him saying that he hates wrestling too. Now he hates wrestling too now.
Oh no!
And then like they said that maybe they can talk over it with pancakes or something.
God bless. He seems just tremendous. By the way,
this Kikuchi is just—it's crazy, man. Because it's like how he tried to threaten Ibushi with firing him, and Ibushi was just like, "Fucking fire me, then you bum."
Yeah.
But this leaves like
what an incredible backfire. I love when that happens though, when threats just backfire like that. It's just incredible, especially with someone like Kota, because he can literally just like he could. I say it all the time, but he could moonwalk into AEW and get paid
what
nicely.
Is, right?
That's the AEW is a weird situation too. I mean, like if you're new AEW, do you touch him?
Yeah, that is the point. I think you do because ultimately they have the real power in that dynamic, right? So
yeah, I mean, I'll be happy about it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I get the sense that maybe that's a case of them not appreciating just how much like value Kota has in America now, and by in America I mean to AEW, as Monty just said. Like, I don't know. It's a weird deal. Obviously this is one report and it is a thorough report from a real source, so much respect to it. But like, maybe we're going to get some sort of alternate, definitely not intentional leak coming soon to another platform. You know, I don't know. That's how these things usually go, but. Yeah, it's quite the story.
Kikuchi's just, the old school stuff. Don't want the younger, good-looking wrestlers.
I also laughed too because this report, like everybody got freaked out because they found out Kikuchi is like might be like the real booker, and everybody's like finding out what Gato's real job is in the promotion because everybody thought Gato was the booker the whole time.
I think there's been a lot of kind of speculation about that element of this, right? Because I think the story said that Kikuchi was brought back by Togo, right? Wasn't that the story? So
the story was obviously he didn't get Kikuchi was there before, but he didn't get his contract renewed by the previous CEO's team. And when what's his name? When Takami Obari came in, Dick Togo kind of
took the power.
Got him back in basically because then Dick Togo kind of got a bit more power and Kikuchi got left as head of talent relations. But as far as booking concerns, obviously a lot of people, as Manny said, were freaking out about it. But I'm sure it says in the report that Gato is the booker, and it says like one of the sources from one of the wrestlers that spoke to him that like they only ever get orders off Gato. So.
He must be tired of it though, right?
No, but I mean, Gato's fighting for his life backstage, like because you hear all the things that Togo's trying to take over and make it more like Mid South where they have run-ins and doing with, and he's constantly have to fighting him back. Like even the wrestlers are fighting back Togo. Like, no, we can't be doing this. Like, no, heat, brother, heat. And it's like one of the reports saying that he's just talking about heat nonstop.
Oh, God. So here's the thing. Do we think Gato is actually fighting back at this point? He's just like, listen, man, just do what the fuck you want. I've booked so many Okada title reigns and title matches at this point. Look, if you want to do your mid-south, get evil, okay? Go out there with evil. It'll be fine. But, yeah, I do remember that being a story.
It was like a Voice of Wrestling story a couple months back where there was a quote saying that they were chanting in the back, like yelling, heat, brother, heat. Like giving each other high fives and stuff. Like, it's just like,
the funniest thing about that being like a booking trend for them was they did it in a time where the crowd couldn't actually boo.
Yeah.
So the opposite, the only thing they do is clap, and the opposite is they just sit in dead silence. Like Evil would do like 15-minute heat segments to just dead silence, like walk around the ring and like look at the people, and they'd just be sitting there because they couldn't do it anyway. Enough about that. Okay. Yeah. Quite the story. Yesterday, Monty, we talked about Roman Reigns. And I said to you, I get the sense. I said, I get the sense this is one of those stories that's like, there'll be more, and we're like, oh, I guess it's not important. All is that's what happened? It feels like kind of is what happened with Roman Reigns. It's not as big a deal as we initially believed. Am I right in saying that, Monty?
I mean, pretty much. I think. Okay, so like when Roman made the promo,
yes,
I know that me and you did, Joe. We just kind of assumed he was just gonna, take his foot off the pedal a little bit, do less house shows, etc. And then the report came out that he was going away, and that was kind of a crazy one. Then Andrew Zarian yesterday, I believe it was, he took to Twitter to he took to Twitter to say that he spoke to someone over at WWE regarding Roman and his schedule moving forward. It's not expected for Roman to take extended time off. He will be on the premium live events, pop and TV. The only change will be with his smaller market house shows, which is why he showed his gratitude to the fans in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And, as us three in here know anyway, that, Zarian's pretty reliable when it comes to this shit, especially the WWE related news. He seems to have friends in high places over there. Yeah.
Honestly, unfortunately, it's gone. I mean, I don't say unfortunately, but it's literally circled back to being what you and I assumed initially, which is kind of, it's not much to it, man. Anything on the very kind of ultimately unimportant factor of you're not going to be able to watch fan cams of house show matches from Roman Reigns as much anymore, because I'm devastated personally. What about you?
I don't know. The first report that came out with when Sean posted it, I feel like WWE didn't even know he was going to do that promo.
Yeah.
So like they were just as confused as everybody else, and then now, I mean, ended up just being like a big non-story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody freaked out for no reason.
They did. Yesterday I was like fantasy booking like impromptu title losses. I thought he was like leaving immediately on a private jet, and we had to somehow get the belt off him. In reality, it's nothing. It's fine. He's going to work all of the many premium live events that we've come to know and love. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't help that too. Dave posted that tweet or whatever without any context, saying that he's going to be gone from like July for August or something like that for 3 months, and everybody freaked out. And then just ended up he's just going to miss house shows. He's still going to be on TV.
That fucking rules, man.
Yeah, that's a very Dave thing. And the best thing is, if you explain that to him as being like an issue, he'd be like, just shrug his shoulders. He's like, did you get it? Like, what did you not get about it? It's pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, with all the guy with all the answers, and everybody else like confused. Like he's just sitting there like that meme with the dog when the house is on fire. He's just sitting there like.
Okay. Everyone's favorite television show was on last night, NXT. Monty, this was actually genuinely a big night for you.
Because
I'll get to that in a minute, but can we be sincere for a moment? Just for a moment. You're a big Natalya Neidhart fan. And she takes a lot
True professional.
Yeah, she takes a lot of negativity online from people like me.
Great cage match score.
Factual, very an 8 on cage match. But from what I have heard and what I gather, she genuinely did an extraordinary job last night with Cora Jade. Is that the case, Monty?
Of course she did. She did a great job.
Yeah.
She went in there with Cora Jade and they achieved more than 3 stars, I'd say.
4.25.
I mean, no.
They did the Austin finish, right?
It was
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, man, like I said, like Natalya's just a pro, man. She's a pro, like she isn't I'm not gonna sit here and say that she's fucking the best woman on the roster or anything, but in that setting where she can kind of just like guide a younger talent through a match, like she can play the heel professional piece of shit very well, and she did. And it felt like a big match for Cora. So
let's be completely honest, she's not the best woman on the roster. She may be the best for this particular job though. She's very, very comfortable in this spot where like that's actually very challenging. And that's what people have always said that about her. It may not translate to classics necessarily. This one, from what I can gather, actually was very, very good. But that's why they sent her there, and she's the perfect fit for it. She's still doing SmackDown, which is a rib, but good stuff. Okay. Manny, I don't know if you got this message from Monty before the show, but he sent me a exasperated voice note in which he said, "I know I'm asking for a lot, but I need you to watch Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar's talking segments. You did not, lucky you didn't get it." So I watched these segments, and I understand why they pop you. I get it. Tony D is like full De Niro, which is I didn't realize he was going that far with it. Incredible. This is like your favorite thing to talk about, man. This is like the end of our NXT segment, by the way, folks.
It's just fucking. Oh man, it's so good. I find it so good. Like I said to you on WhatsApp, it's genuinely like one of those like shitty daytime movies that you see. Like that's the way that it's shot and everything. It's just fucking. Tony D'Angelo is like unironically very good at this like corny bullshit. It's fucking incredible. Like you said, he's gone full De Niro. He's doing the faces. That kid's going places. I'm telling you, that kid's going places. He's good TV, man. It's just good TV. Like I said, it's just corny, like daytime TV movie shit, and it's just fucking. There's people getting kidnapped, people getting put in the trunk. There's fucking phone calls between the bosses.
And it sounds like the most dangerous place on earth.
Oh, it's fucking, especially the parking lot.
Oh,
parking was famously so. Wait, now I'm confused. You sent me a quote, right? What was this quote? Let me find this. Hang on, folks. Bear with me. Oh, no, this was about... That quote about the child being run over was about Eddie Kingston, right? That wasn't this, was it?
That was about Kingston.
Okay, thank God. I thought I really...
From the TNA thing.
Yeah.
My only thing that I know about NXT from last night was just somebody messaging me saying they did the Bret Hart Austin finish, like the Bret Hart Steve Austin finish, and no context. That was it. And then they said Cora Jade and Natalia. That's the only thing I know what happened. I was just like, oh, okay.
Britt watched that match, right? Like Natty told him to watch that, right? Are we confident on this? I'm confident.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then
it's a family. That's a family, man. You know.
I just feel bad because like I don't really know what happened on the show, but I just see a lot of people going after NXT saying because about their rating, with their rating today, and then like
that was
brutal and dogging on like I don't really want to get into it, but yeah, like
from what I gather,
like where all the women watchers are, everybody's saying
From what I gather, the conversation became about last night genuinely, and I've seen multiple people like it appears last night was a genuinely positive night for the women where it wasn't like embarrassing and they actually were just featured across the show, which is awesome. And I think there is a running take, and I don't think it's wrong necessarily, but the idea of like there's so much noise about this topic, where are the eyeballs when it happens? I don't think that's wrong. I don't know if this show is the best example. Does that make sense? And I know that our pal Backup Hangman tweeted it, and I get what he means. It's just I don't know. I think part of it is honestly we're so deep in the bubble. So what seems like a loud thing, like in television rating terms, isn't a thing. Does that make sense? Like it's like when a big match gets announced for Rampage and we all go, "Holy shit, we're getting that on Rampage," and the viewership comes in, it's like 500K. It's like we're a loud minority, right? It is what it is. I think that's the case, honestly. All of us online. But that's just my reading. I don't know what you
I was shocked that AEW Rampage got like 200K last week.
Yeah.
And their rating was still better than...
That was wild. Yeah.
That's NXT's rating last night.
That's especially crazy because NXT is like...
on primetime.
And it's actively produced in a way that's supposed to appeal to like the younger viewer.
Yeah, I don't even know that happened. Like, because I was saying if you follow me on Twitter, I was like, I haven't even seen Rampage still from last week because like I haven't had time, and the time it happens is I'm usually picking up my sister at 4:30 with time that it showed last week, and by the time I get home, the show's already over. So I'm just like, man, I haven't seen it, and then it still did that good of a rating and beat NXT on primetime.
Well, I have to say, and Monty can vouch for me here, but very different here, right, Monty? I mean, we, Rampage for us at 10:30, people are partying in the streets. There's big screens up with it on. NXT UK champion Tony Storm was featured. It's a big
content everywhere. Yeah. We get the cakes and the pastries out. Fucking crumpets. Fucking.
Yeah, you walk around and like it's a Friday evening. You walk around, but you're watching the big match. We've got some tag team action set up this evening, pal. It's good stuff, Anyway, in all seriousness, Mad King says 50K. People were stunned at that number they got on Rampage. I genuinely thought it was going to be much lower than that. Like, that time was crazy, man.
Can you put up Mad King's thing about the TNT?
There you go.
That can't
50K,
be real.
that was the story. Someone, no, that's a real thing. Someone with credibility said that. Mad King has credibility too. He's a grinner, but
man, imagine being TNT's ex and getting that piece of paper saying like, I think we're gonna get a good 50K. Whoa,
yeah, exactly.
200K.
Riho, brother. There you go. Do you remember when they put that Riho match on Bleacher Report and there was like a whole week of discourse about people were claiming Bleacher Report like specifically asked for her? Like she's a big deal, man. Bleacher
Report. Because if you look at the quarter hours, Rio's a legitimate draw.
No. Let me be clear. The joke there wasn't that she is a draw and she's awesome, but like the idea that someone at Bleacher Report knows is incredible to me. Like, give us Riho, let's go.
The AEW joke, for some reason, whenever AEW puts on the Joshies, man, they just like Deeb or anything like not Deeb, but Sheeta and all them, they just go, or Yuka, the rating just goes up for them. Everybody just likes them. So even when Yuka comes out, they cheer for Yuka. Well, they haven't seen her in a long time. So
have you not seen Rampage yet, you said? As of this moment?
I haven't seen it. I just heard the crowd just went crazy for both of them.
It was nuts. It was honestly the best comp I could make in US wrestling is like when two luchadors would wrestle on Nitro and the place would go from not like, I mean, they like Riho and they like Yuka, as you just said, but like they started doing This Is Awesome chants. It was actually quite extraordinary, honestly. I mean, it was pretty nuts, but they were on second to last. They were on, so
a good test for it was when Maki Ito came out for the first time.
Yeah,
and that place just erupted, especially when she started singing. Like everybody says that they need to move away from like the Joshi, but it seems like everybody just likes to watch in person.
When they had the Joshi fully flowing, like when they've done the tournament and everything, like I feel like that was when AEW's women's division was producing the best matches. So I need more of that shit, I'll be honest. Yeah, man. Like if the Joker just happened to be random Joshi, it could be Maki. I think was it you who said that?
Yeah, I think it probably. I don't want to say it will be because that makes it sound like I know. So I know nothing, but I don't think Britt's losing, and she kind of it's something like people would pop for, but you don't have to like worry too much about long-term booking of. Does that make sense? But,
I mean, it makes sense because Maki was a part of her little faction for a bit.
Exactly. Yep. There you go.
But I thought it would be Athena, since they're
I would love that, but
yeah,
Athena has to win, right? And then it's like, are you going to beat Britt in the tournament first round? I mean, I would, but I don't think
it'd be a good story. Britt and Hayter both lose.
Yes, it would. And Britt just got pinned on TV, so you got that kind of uncertainty within like her. She lost the belt. Is she the same?
You could do the same story with they're doing with Adam Cole. Like they've been losing all the big matches.
Yeah. Athena is she'd be a big ad. I feel. I mean, I've been consistent on this. So I know it's boring, but it would be pretty good to have her in that tournament because match quality wise, I want to have some. Ideally, you want the final four so you can look at them and say, I'm confident in all four of these women going out there and producing like match of the night level stuff.
Because if they do Athena, then who beats? Like, does she beat Toni Storm or?
Probably not.
I think Sheeta's going out the other side.
Are we completely out on Ruby having this run? Because I'm intrigued by this.
I think she's out. I think Sheeta's winning the thing.
The only reason I'm intrigued by Ruby is not because I think it should be her. There's an opposite story. You know what you just said with Britt? The opposite story of Ruby of like wrestled for the belt, made it all the way to the tournament final for the TBS, lost there. Like, can she win the big one? Intrigues me, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that's where they're going to go unless Britt's making the final from the other side, So there's a lot of different factors at play. I think Tony's going to win it personally. That's just me.
Yeah. I don't even know if you want she to keep wrestling because she's having those crazy long matches in Japan. Yeah. Like she had that hour and a half long match or whatever. So I don't know if you want to keep letting her wrestle.
The other factor is Jade going to wrestle at the pay-per-view? Because Velvet is wrestling Sheeta, right, in the tournament. And with Velvet, you now have a clear kind of path to create a program for Jade. It could be something as simple as Jade is at ringside and afterwards Sheeta like swings the kendo at her or something. And then you've set up for when you come back to it. Sheeta and Jade on the pay-per-view would be strong. I don't know if they're going to have space for it in there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it might be on the Rampage or Dynamite after.
There you go. The live Rampage, I think, could be like kind of like the unofficial pre-show before the pre-show.
Yeah, because it's happening at a weird time too next week, or I think it's at 7:30.
I'm not sure what. I get confused all the times. I don't know, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the Team Taz Swerve Keith deal. Mm-hmm. That feels like it could easily be like the Rampage main event in like a street fight. I mean, I'd love it to be on the pay-per-view, but it does feel like it could end up on that show.
It fits the profile like to the T.
Well, yeah, indeed. Anyway, we're going to go to some AEW stuff when we get to Dynamite. Let's do... Okay, this is my favourite story of the day because he's a good friend of mine, Colt Bauer. Oh. He's back. He's back in business, folks. He never left, but I'm going to just say he's back in business. He's confident, Monty. He's going to take him to the cleaners, he believes. Tell us about it.
He is very confident. Apparently, he's got his evidence piled up. He's sounding pretty fired up, but of course he can't say too much because it's an ongoing court case. So Let's look at it. So what he said was, it would probably be strategically unwise to spill the beans on that here and now. I'm not trying to blue ball you here, but all I can share is that we have exceptional evidence of torturous interference, and as the legal process plays out, the public will see the evidence and it will come out, and it's pretty damning.
Okay, let's talk about this before we even look at the quote. Look above this. Colt Bauer spoke with Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri. Good Lord, I thought that stuff only happened in my nightmares. Okay, now back to Colt Bauer. I am not going to call him a liar. I hope he's telling the truth because that would be fucking awesome. If Colt Bauer was the one that slayed the World Wrestling Federation, I'm telling you now that we will get years of content out of it. Yes. I am uncertain of Colt's case here, so to speak. But that's just me. Hopefully he's right? Fuck, it'd be awesome. But
as soon as you said that, the FIFA just posted another story about MLW.
Oh my god!
Well,
no, another one. Yeah. Because he done the interview with Raj. Then I think he done one with I'm sure I've seen Sean post one on Fightful Select as well. So that's two.
Was it one about Hammerstone's new contract or
no? He's saying that Bauer confirmed that they're in advanced talks for a new broadcast deal, but can't expand upon it.
No. I made that joke like 3 hours ago, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He always is in talks with these people.
That's all he does, bro. He really is just... he pops me so much. He genuinely...
My favorite Bauer story is last year when he took credit for the crash.
Yeah.
5K for the crash.
God. It's like 5,000 people.
Even though it's like what they usually do, and he took credit for it. He's like, "We're back, boys. We're back."
That is one fascinating promotion, though, isn't it? The crash, those shows, because they do those numbers, live attendance, and you hear nothing about them. It's
yeah. It's a
different world, man.
I don't know anything about the scene, but that's exactly it. It's just so different. Like drawing a house is such a different thing. From what I can gather, I don't know. But
CML does big shows sometimes, and nobody talks about it. They just say they're still dying. Right
there, you go. Words I never thought I'd say. Back to MLW. Do you remember they got that DAZN deal they'd been working on? They never did a show on DAZN. They just existed on DAZN for a while, left DAZN. Then they got the Vice TV deal that was just like a one-off special, and they never returned. Oh my god! They just did a one-off, and they were never back. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, like you said, he's just always in talks, man. He's always in talks for something, a streaming deal, a TV deal, fucking Monty, anything, bro.
You can vouch for me here because this is important. I say this. I am not rooting against that promotion. In fact, I actually watch that fucking promotion. I have regularly informed Monty of this, and there are a lot of people in wrestling media that talk about MLW but definitely don't watch it. I'm the opposite. I try not to talk about it, but I actually watch the thing. I don't know why. Ricky Steamboat's the authority figure sometimes. It's interesting. But if they were good and rocking and rolling, it would be good for wrestling. I like some of the guys there. It's just at some point you can't help but roll your eyes when you hear he's in talks for a television deal. It's ridiculous at this point. I mean, I'm glad he's in the talks, but we need to get something more concrete. I know it's hard, but it's even harder to keep listening to.
Whatever happened to the Zones deal?
So they never did a show for them.
Oh, really?
Their TV, I think, just existed on their platform and they just left without any formal announcement or anything. And that was interesting because, like I said to Monty the other night about this, like the Zone's got a lot of detractors, but like it has money behind it. I mean, they're losing a lot of it, but they're putting it in, you know. And wrestlers are not actually that expensive. Wrestling isn't that expensive. They just didn't do anything with them. It was weird. I don't know.
I didn't even know the Zone had them on there until like I guess the deal ended. And I said, "What the heck? When did MLW come on the Zone?" Same thing happened. Like I guess the Zone doesn't do a good job. Like
it's bad.
Like bro, like I didn't even know Canelo was fighting until like the fight ended. And he lost. I said, what?
Yeah.
Like my
cousin on Cinco de Mayo, you didn't even know.
No, like my cousin texted me saying that Canelo just lost. I said, because I was leaving work. I said, "What do you mean Canelo just lost? What do you mean? Where's he fighting?"
Yeah, they struggle with that stuff, and I don't think MLW would have been the thing to change it. But it is. I remember them announcing it as a big deal, and like I don't know.
MLW is weird, man. Like I feel like ever since AEW was created, they've struggled so hard to get momentum. Because I haven't watched them regularly since like 2018, and that was when they had like MJF was like the hot indie young talent. Yeah. It was around the time Tom Lawler was their world champ. Obviously, he was just solid, and then you had like the emergence of Jacob Fatu. It was like on his way to the world title, and it was good shit, man. It genuinely was good shit. There was a little bit of a Hart Foundation with Brian Pillman Jr., Teddy Hart, and
oh my god,
I was so wrong about Pillman. I thought Pillman was going to be a star in that. Like I saw him.
Listen, bro, in MLW with that feud between the Dynasty and that Hart Foundation was as funny as some of the talent involved was.
No, yeah, no.
It was legitimately good, good wrestling.
Look, we've talked about this before, and I guess it gets lost in. I did some dunks there, but like I think Colt Barry is a good wrestling mind. I genuinely think he often finds guys that are interesting, and I think his TV is generally vaguely compelling. When I talk about
that guy with the middleweight championship,
Alex Kane.
Alex Kane,
the suplex. I mean, he's a good example of the kind of talent he finds. It's a perfect example because he isn't someone who fits like the hot indie thing of like just having all the moves and stuff. But there's something there. You can tell there is, right? Like there's definitely something there, and he has a presence, he has a look. He's good at that. It's just, so you roll your eyes at some of his interview comments. But nonetheless, good luck to him. The major leagues, they'll be back soon enough, I'm sure.
Well, I like when he goes to these different places and like uses the venue. Like when he was in Mexico, they were in that like shitty dirt hole, like that place. It was so awesome. Like you just saw Vikingo. You saw Vikingo wrestle I think RS, and they were just like doing hurricanranas on the dirt.
Best thing about that was, and I tweeted this, and it didn't get the traction it should have. But they didn't have a ring bell.
Yeah.
So someone like downloaded like a bell app and like hit it for the but because it was synced, like the phone was obviously synced with the screen. So like when they would hit the bell, it would kind of like the volume thing would pop up on the screen, like things a bit loud there. I mean, it was.
I fucking love stuff like that.
It was an incredible piece of business. Like what Manny just described, honestly, you can't do justice what this looked like. It was cool.
I remember because I was like, I think I saw you talking about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go watch it. And that's the first match that popped up. I said, oh man, let's go, let's buckle up. And then the match wasn't as good as like they would have anywhere else. But just like I'm like, man, I was just sitting there like, man, imagine if AEW ran something right here. Man, this would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Or if it was like in a video game, I was like, this is just awesome. Just guys just rolling in the dirt and just like doing stuff like that. And the crowd don't know what's going on. They're just like clapping and
and there appeared to be like a bunch of them because they had like 4 rows of fans. There appeared to be Americans there, and I assumed they were just like people that worked there. I don't know. Like maybe they're production people just sitting down.
I remember, Joe, in
the seats were just weird
2018.
too.
Yeah.
I remember in 2018, I fought Mance Warner was the second coming of Stone Cold.
Well, he fucking rules. I mean, I'm still with you on that.
I'm all in on that guy, man. Like, I genuinely have always thought ever since the formation of AEW is like, if you put him on TV and let people see him and let him just do his shtick, and do his catchphrases and his bullshit, like people would just fucking love him.
I thought he was going to go to AEW too. He was going to go to AEW.
There was a rumor of him
getting out of his deal, trying to.
Yeah, and then I think by the time he got out of it, it was like, the WWE have released 100 wrestlers or whatever. I don't know if AEW is the best spot for him, but there is 100% a world in which there's a TV product that exists that he would be fucking over huge on. I just don't know if they do it that way.
My thing with Mansa, with good old Mansa, is that if I was like his manager or his guy, I'd be incredible. I'd be in his ear trying to convince him to kind of tone it down on all the deathmatch shit. To be honest, and I'm not even one of these anti-deathmatch people, but he has so much charisma and so much personality that it kind of taints him in putting him on one of the top two promotions. Do you know what I mean? Like WWE obviously wouldn't touch him. Like, do you know what I mean? But like
he had this awesome match in AEW where he just I forgot who he wrestled. He was on that same show with Eddie Kingston, and they wrestled Yehai. I don't know if it was a tag match where they were all involved in or something like that. But he's just so awesome when he's just in those regular just brawls,
And here is where, and I know this is redundant, we all know it already, but this is where it would be great if NWA wasn't like dead. He would be great in a studio. Could you imagine his promos in that setting? Like, if that show had a pulse, he would be he'd be perfect there. But obviously, he wants to, get paid and have people see him wrestle and stuff. So
if Ray Prince can't get Eddie Kingston, you can get Mance Moore right there.
Now we're talking. Now we're starting to go somewhere with this. I like that. It's good attitude. Okay, we went off on that MLW talk or something, wasn't it?
We went everywhere. We went.
Yeah, that's the stuff we like to do. Okay. Couple last things here. The last one will be Dynamite, and we'll just kind of talk broad strokes until until it feels like we're ready to go. But first,
we got the Manson boys out, man.
Everyone he's one of those guys that everyone likes. We've just unfortunately he's fallen into the backdrop.
Yeah, it's just like you said, WWE released so many wrestlers, so many free agents and stuff. It's like we kind of got lost in the shuffle, literally. And
is he still wrestling?
It's cool. Yeah, no, he's back now. He's back now.
He's back. I don't even.
The thing is with him as well is like he's the guy that beat MJF in MLW for like the loser leaves town match. So like and they have such good chemistry as well on screen together.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Didn't they do like an empty arena for that deal? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was during COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah,
no, it wasn't COVID. No,
I think they did because MJF was still on both for a while.
Yeah, he was.
You think at the timeline? I think it was. I think it was like one of the first. I don't know. Anyway, there are new belts coming. There may be many belts. There are one specifically that we've been waiting for a long time. We've been fired up about it, and it feels like it's we can kind of be confident it's happening. It's a matter of when, not if. The Trios title. Monty, what was the exact story here?
So Tony Khan has recently done an interview with TSN. And if some of you may remember that Dave Meltzer it was in the Observer newsletter. He said that basically the AEW Trios belts have already been created. They've already been created. It's just a matter of when, not if. And basically during his TSN interview, Tony Khan said that he saw Dave Meltzer's report, and he pointed out that nobody's asked him about it on record yet, but it is true. I've made the belts. I made them a long time ago. To be honest with you, they've never been seen, but I did have them made. I do have more championship belts in my possession that have never been unveiled than anybody might suspect.
Just imagine going to Tony's house and you just see all these unmade, just like AEW titles. Just like
he's got like he's got like the Warrior Wrestling. I like the Warrior Wrestling belt is like a logo like that, but just like. I don't know, like it's like the Fulham.
Let me tell you, he better not have any belts with that Ring of Honor logo that we saw on him. I don't want to see them belts. Don't make those yet. Wait.
Well, yeah, that's the story.
Like that old NXT logo, like the belt had the NXT spelled out. Like imagine he has one like that with AEW like that. And
oh, God bless.
Like you just show up to his room, and you're like, what is this title? Like, it's just a concept idea, like I have like
when I try to buy WCW back. Tremendous. Okay. Let's talk about this. Trios titles is something we've been fired up about for some time. Manny, is this as simple as what Tony kind of told us? He's just waiting to get Kenny back. Is it that simple? It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't wait for Kenny. I mean,
Yeah.
I get having the elite in the first ever tournament, but I mean, you guys, yeah, why wait? You have the House of Black just spinning wheels, feuding with the Varsity Blondes, and then like Fuego, you have them feuding with Fuego too, and then like just do the whole thing. I mean, like what are Death Triangle and then fighting over? They're just fighting over spooky lore, you know. Just
I think you need Kenny, man. I think you need Kenny. No, if we waited this long, we might as well. Like, I think Kenny will be back sometime in the summer. It's like, you know,
I don't know if you guys saw that graphic somebody made all the trios teams all together.
I didn't know. That sounds incredible.
I think it was like 20 teams.
There's enough. It was different combinations though. Like some of them have the same wrestler and stuff. There's a lot though, and some of them aren't technically trios. Some of them are just like alliances that could be a trio. But yeah, obviously there is a lot of potential matchups. There is loads.
Oh, it's gonna fucking rule. It should. And here's the thing, and people get mad about this, but like a couple of times you can do like a story attached. For the most part, it should just be weird matches that you just fucking fling out there and let people enjoy it. It's trios. You don't need too much meat on the bone. It's 6 great wrestlers having these wild matches, you know?
Can you imagine? What would that look like?
Oh, I don't know. You'd like
you
it, though.
Tony Khan starts booking Crowbar again, but as like a jobber.
Don't do that. Bless his heart.
Like,
Don't do that.
I wish the trios titles was around when Darby, Eddie Kingston, and Mox were a tag team. Like some of those were the most fun matches you've ever seen. Like,
yeah,
I still remember that with 2.0 and Danny Garcia.
Their debut.
I still remember that match. Yeah,
that was at Dailies. Remember they like went back and they did this like.
Sting that's Darby's dive.
King is still feuding with them. Yeah, no, that was an absolute plus. I'm honestly, this is a terrible take for podcasting, but I'm just like, I get why you'd wait for Kenny because him and the Bucks is like the trio, and they wrestle as like an actual unit too, which is wild. But I equally completely like if they just did what Manny said and just did them now, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah,
I know that's lame take, but it's just at this point, I want to see the belts, but I am with you. What you're like, I can wait. I ain't, you know, I'm not kind of sitting here desperate.
I think that was supposed to be the first title before the TBS, but then you know they didn't want the heat on him having another men's title.
Yep. So
then they just pushed it back because Kenny was hurt anyways. So like, well, you know, we'll wait.
I mean, the TBS title was an interesting one because it's obviously in terms of like output, it's slightly limited because it's become the Jade title, which is nothing wrong with. But I think it's been very useful in that regard, right? Because otherwise, what you have Jade, you know, if you don't want to be a world champ, it's kind of like you'd be stuck in the middle ground. So, I think it's helped them. Obviously, there's still things they could be doing better, but I do agree. I think this was intended a long time ago.
I think the most fun conversation is just coming up with the titles that he has made, but then like you know, it's going to take a long time just to mess around with it. I hope I think he has, for sure. I know he doesn't have the cruiserweight title because like it doesn't make sense for him to have a cruiserweight title.
he might. He may have got fired up watching Wardlow wrestle and was like, make some cruiserweight belts just in case. All these little guys leave someday. I have to switch it up a little bit.
I saw somebody say that they should do like, because I don't know, I don't watch Progress, but they have like a Haas title or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what if he has one of those titles? But I mean,
did you see the lineup they booked for that tournament? They're like big man tournament. I'm not going to name names, but my God, that was quite the scene they put together over there. God bless them. They're trying their best over here in Great Britain. Trying their best. Okay. Let's do some AEW Dynamite talk here. Within the hour, it is a very strong lineup. This is the first night of the Owen. Indeed, it's going to be very interesting. It's the first night of the Owen. There are 3 matches in the Owen Hart tournament tonight. We have Punk and John Silver. We have Ricky and Jungle Boy. We have a big Jericho segment, contract signing. But more important than any of those, Monty, we have Danhausen and your thoughts. Fair. All right, that's fair. I respect it. I knew he was going there. That's fair. All right, Manny, what are you most looking forward to tonight?
it's weird because I'm not like a big angles guy.
Yeah.
But like I really, if I'm the kind of guy like if there's no angles, I'm fine with watching wrestling. But watching the Warlow stuff kind of changed my mind on the angles. So like I'm kind of curious to see if there might be like another debut with, or they might do something crazy for the contract signing and with the Jericho stuff. So I don't know if Tony's crazy enough to do two different kind of debut things like that, or that's what I'm kind of interested in. If it's a match wise, I'm kind of curious to see how Ricky and Jungle Boy is going to be, because I feel like those are two complete different styles, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go back to the contract something because that's intrigued me. Are you saying maybe we could see a deal where, for example, when MJF says, you know, you'll get the match first, you have to wrestle, and then like boom, you do a heel attack or something? We could see something like that, perhaps. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that before. The Jericho one is like,
that just screams somebody's coming in and like,
yeah. No, I get you. I understand.
And that I don't know if it's gonna be Homicide and Hernandez, or it might be just Cesaro.
So the chat earlier, when I was on the famed Late Night Grim platform, they got me back to where I was 2 months ago. And they like collectively became bullish on it being Blackpool Combat Club. And I'm so interested about what this looks like. Because I've wrote it off so many times because it feels like they're going to do their own thing. But like, Eddie and Brian may not get on, you know, as television characters, but like, Danielson definitely wouldn't fuck with the sports entertainer like society shit, right? Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
That is interesting to me. And what are they doing at the pay per view if it's not there? Are they going to wrestle for the tag belts, or are they like? I don't know. That intrigues me. I have to admit.
I think it'll be the tag belts, man. I think it will be the tag belts. But that angle definitely is interesting because it's like it would make sense, and it would be like, you know, probably bigger than probably a bit bigger than Hernandez and Homicide. So you know.
I'm just like, since you fantasy booked that thing where Eddie Kingston gets Dustin, I'm just like, man, just imagine that, just like him just in the back, wrapping his fingers, like his hands up, like he's ready to go to war, and they just
I've got one more left in me.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Especially with
that's the line. I've got one more left in me.
Especially with that quote today, with I think you posted it with. Dustin told Tony's only going to wrestle Punk if he has 20 minutes.
Right. And, you know, the thing that I like about, and this is, you know, borderline insanity because I'm now just putting over my own ideas, but I appreciate you bringing that up because it's one of those things that you wouldn't do with most talents because it feels phony, but you know for a fact that Dustin and Eddie could pull it off easily. Like, if Eddie walked over to Dustin and just asked him to be on his team, everyone watching the show would be like, that makes sense. He would probably do that. Like, of course he would. He's a wrestling nerd. He knows Dustin's done this shit before, so... Yeah,
and especially if Claudio just turns on him during the match, and I don't know where I heard it before, like the thing where like if they actually do the match and then Eddie Kingston's just watching Homicide just get like spiked in the head with this fork and all that, and he has to give up. To me, that just sounds so awesome. Just like not awesome for Homicide, but like just watching it.
Oh yeah. I remember saying, and this is where I remember pitching that, and Oracle fairly said. You need it. You need the babyface to win the second Blood and Guts. And honestly, he's probably right because the build has been so heat heavy. But the visual of Homicide, like that would be I mean that would be something. I don't know, Monty. What's your current read on this Jericho? So who do you think we're getting tonight? If anyone, maybe Eddie just comes back with a chair or something. But it feels like we need some backup tonight.
I think if I had to put my money on it, I'd go with Homicide and Hernandez. Yeah. To be honest. Claudio would be fucking incredible, obviously. Someone said in the chat, I'll put it up. My ideal is Claudio and Hero. I don't care.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be fucking...
But I don't even know if Hero can actually go.
Yeah, I don't even know if Hero can fucking walk these days.
Yeah, I know he has like a health condition, but I look at him and I'm just like, I don't know how many more spinning forms you can do.
Yeah, he's so easy to love as well. It's just...
Oh, he's the fucking man. He's great.
And you know, with his history of wrestling, he's going to want to do that match of justice too, you know, like...
Yeah.
I just wonder if he can have, like, the stand-up.
Did something very stupid, you know?
Them two being on the same team as King in 2022 is like...
Oh, because both insane. Of them hate him too.
Like,
so it's like...
If you'd have told me, even like 3 years ago, this is what we'd be talking about, I'd be like, what the fuck happened, you know?
Oh my! I just thought about it right now. Imagine if they do bring him in and they're both with Punk, and then Kingston has to go through all three guys.
Oh dear. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, Kings Wrestling was a great team, so it'd be also, it just feels, I don't know how many more matches Chris has got ahead of him, but they don't feel like they're going to be happening in the next 6 months. This say that's just I don't know as a guess, right? But it would pop me. It'd be awesome. I'm with Reese. It's an ideal for sure. But I might be unfair. I keep saying this, but I feel like an asshole. But I do feel like we have to be careful about pairing Homicide and Hernandez. I can live with Homicide. He's he's broken down, but he's Homicide. I struggle with it. The second half of that, I do. I worry about Hernandez.
I think I've seen Homicide wrestle the last he doesn't look as good, but man, being on Dynamite does something to people except Jeff Hardy.
It does.
Yeah. But it's having the reverse effect on the Hardys. But everybody else, they're coming in, they're just getting pumped up. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing backstage to these older ROH guys, and it's working for everybody. Yeah, just wish the Hardys would work with the Hardys, but
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I have no doubt that, especially in Blood and Guts, Homicide could be the guy we remember for one night. I have no doubt because he'd bleed immediately, he'd throw punches and shit. Hernandez, I have many doubts that he ever would have been good in Blood and Guts, let alone in 2022. I don't know. It's he was a hot tag guy. There's no shame in it, but I don't know. It's difficult. Maybe we just get Homicide, is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know then what
you're going to need that. You're going to need that one guy too, right? Because it's 5-on-4 then at that point.
Well, that's what you do. You do Homicide and then you do the Dustin angle we were just talking about.
Oh, yeah.
All good.
Go.
See, Cesaro and Dustin.
Pop.
No, that would be.
And then when he turns on Eddie, you do Dustin and Claudio's the Dynamite opener one week and they go 25 minutes and everyone whines and fucking pump our fist and get excited about it.
I still think about Dustin falling after the turnbuckle, selling his legs.
Yes.
I'm just awesome.
He's such a fucking.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of ways they can go with it. Genuinely, I said it half jokingly, but if it is just Eddie Kingston, I'm gonna have to get my brain back to where I'm happy about that and not just thinking, fuck, but who's the backup? Because they haven't actually said it's happening. We're just using our kind of, they keep saying numbers game, right?
Yeah, don't worry, we got 2 more weeks.
Exactly.
You've said it, man. You've said it. They've drilled it home. They've drilled it home so many times with that numbers game, and it's just there's been so much heat as well. It's
it just makes so much sense because they were in Baltimore last week, the home of ROH, the semi-home of ROH, and then now they're in New York, the home of Homicide. So it's just I guess it's just us thinking like about their relationship, and it's weird because Tony just wouldn't bring Homicide in just for one show, that New York show.
Yeah,
I feel like he would have to bring him in for something like more. But I mean,
do you not think it would be awesome? Like, let's just say it's just Homicide tonight. He comes in with like a weapon or something. Whatever you do,
his fork.
Yeah, fork. That's perfect. Like, it would absolutely rule if, like, just in storyline, if King's in trouble and needs help in New York, Homicide just shows up. He's done it twice at that point, and it's like, yeah, well, of course he's New Yorker. What do you think he's going to do? Stay at home? That rules.
Long-term storytelling.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Like,
this is
that's
the known thing. Like, if you fuck with King in New York, Homicide's just going to appear out of nowhere. Like, he's jumping out the crowd and shit. Like,
imagine everybody leaves and it's just Jericho in the ring, and he just starts stabbing him with the fork, and he's bleeding everywhere.
Jericho and Homicide locking up is fucking hilarious. And then he'd have him on the podcast and talk to him like he's never seen any of his matches because he probably hasn't. It'd be fucking amazing. Great stuff.
That's just a cool visual. Just
absolutely
Jericho bleeding in the middle of the ring while everybody's running away.
So when you were in your spiteful absence there, Monty, Manny selected Jungle Boy and Ricky Starks as his match to kind of most interested in. What's yours? In terms of in-ring.
I'm probably most interested to see nothing against Adam Cole, but I'm interested to see just how much Dax can get out of him in terms of wrestling, an intense,
I hope you watch your show.
Almost emotional, because obviously it's the Sean guy versus the Brett guys.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how, like I said, what can Dax do with Adam Cole? That's probably what interests me the most.
Yeah.
The Jungle Boy Ricky Starks match is also another interesting one because I feel like Ricky's kind of, especially with all these new signings that have come in over the past year, it's like it's kind. I feel like Ricky's just kind of got like this chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I think he's throwing his weight around.
Like he has in kayfabe, but like I think that's a real thing. And obviously we know like Jungle Boy, the match with Kyle O'Reilly was fine, but we know that he can pull off great TV matches. So I'm interested to see how that chemistry works out between the two. Obviously, it's a little bit of a taster before the tag match as well. We could main event. I don't know. What do you think of main event?
Because if you see that graphic they always post, that's on top. I've noticed that the last couple of weeks.
It's for a title as well.
Collages, yeah. Usually the top graphic is the main event.
So, openers Punk and Silver, right? So they can stop Cole personality.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Dax and Cole.
Oh, yeah, they love Simon Cole's music.
But it makes it. I don't know if you want to do. I think you do Punk and Silver in the middle, so then you can do a hangman angle.
When it comes to openers, it's messy because literally, like Darby Jeff could open,
or MJF. You could do MJF and Wardlow.
Unless what you do is you do like an Owen block of the show. Like you start with Punk and Silver, you close with Ricky and Jungle Boy. Maybe Danhausen goes on before the main event, but that hour in between there is just like the Owen matches, and you try to make it feel like separate. That's one of my big kind of.
What do you think
points of intrigue tonight? I'll be honest, man. I don't think there would be any different whatsoever. But it would really pop me if they did. I have to say.
My whole idea was like I thought about it as like, what if they do like a split black and purple like matte or black and white, and then like they put like Owens the Heart Foundation skull in the middle. After thinking all that, I was like, oh, it's probably not going to happen. It's just going to be like a regular AEW.
Yeah. I've said it weeks ago, man. I said it to you weeks ago, Joe. Like, I just hope it is. Like, even if it's just some fucking pink lights or something, just something different, Matt, like Manny said, just something that makes it feel different and prestigious and not just fucking different graphics. And that's all we've got kind of.
I think you said, Joe, like they just do like a pink rope in the middle. Like they just change out the middle rope.
My thing is
trophy out there.
That would be a nice touch. With their talent roster, I don't think one of their 4 pay-per-views needs to be, or even can be, like fully about a tournament, right? Like Double or Nothing is about Hangman and Punk. I'm sorry, it is. Like the Owen's great. I'm pumped for it. It's for a great cause, and it's for Owen, man. We're all excited about it. But like, when the time we get to that pay-per-view, this is just going to be 2 matches in the card, which is what it is. It's not anyone's fault. It's just the way it works. I've increasingly feel like you only got 4 pay-per-views. Don't put these on one of those 4. Make this like a block of TV. For 2 weeks, it's just the Owen. You know, you do like the semi and the final on the same night. And
like a G1.
Yeah, you could exactly.
Like in terms of how they do the shows, like it's literally like G1 just takes over the promotion for a fucking 3 weeks or however long it is.
Yeah, and because you have the women's matches, like it wouldn't be like it would be just one thing. I don't know. And look, all of this is easier said than done. I get that. I understand it's challenging. But the one thing about it that bums me out a little bit is that when Punk on commentary, when he was doing Dax and Cash, was like, a lot of people wanted in this. I wanted in it. It's like, I understand as wrestling fans, we have to just turn our brains off and be like, oh yeah, Punk couldn't be in it because he's wrestling for the world title. But wouldn't the Owen be like cooler if it actually was just the fucking All-Stars? It was just the 16 guys in the tournament. I know it's hard, but wouldn't it be great?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to do that in American TV. If you watch like I guess like Pearl, like Jeff, like the G1, it just feels such like a big deal because the champs in the tournament and all this stuff, and you can't because the thing is, I guess you have to sell pay-per-views, so it's like we can't hold everybody's storyline, and then everybody's gonna be mad because you're giving away CM Punk versus Adam Cole. Where's the story? in that? I'm like, guys, please, let's just have the match. Like, why does everything have to be like?
It's just different. The structure's different. It's TV. It's different thing. You're right. It's just, I don't know. I kind of wanted, and this was never realistic, folks. So let me stress. This is not me like pitching. This is me talking purely as a fan. But I kind of wanted it to be like their G1, their World Cup, whatever the fuck. It was in tribute to Owen.
Yeah.
And instead, it's a really nice bracket, but it's just 8 guys on the roster that are just like, that's the guys that they wanted in it.
And I wish they could have had. I wish they could have had international talent. Like
yeah, it's
Yes, just
I don't know. And again, we understand all the limitations. I completely understand it. It's just talking purely from like a passion perspective. I really wanted it to be saying unlike anything we'd ever seen in US wrestling before, and instead it just feels like it'll be like their King of the Ring, which is fine. The match is going to be killer.
I wish they would have done it and just had the matches on dark, like on Elevation, but then you would have people complaining, "Oh, this is on YouTube," and then it's like there's no win-win for the fans or like the promotion because it's like everybody's going to be complaining about something,
It's really hard. It is.
Yeah, I'll be honest about the bracket. I don't think disappointed would be the right word, but I'm definitely with Joe. As like when they announced that they were doing Owen and the big deal they made of it. Of course, they were always going to make a big deal of it because Owen Hart and the Owen Hart Foundation, etc. Of course, they were always going to make a big deal with it. But me, I kind of wanted it to be like Joe said, like AEW's kind of G1 and not necessarily the same in exact format and doing points, etc. But just like a big bracket, like not an 8-man tournament. And I feel like AEW. It's just my opinion, and I'm just an idiot. But I genuinely feel like this bracket that AEW's put out, especially with it only being 8 men, is pretty close to the floor of what they could have put out and got away with.
I like the bracket more than you. We talked about this last week.
No, I like the bracket a lot. I think it's all stars.
I really do like it. And I think Joe versus a mystery man is kind of nuts. That to me is genuinely big time. Mm-hmm. But if you could very reasonably say to me, but Joe, there's no Danielson, Moxley, Punk.
Where's the young guys?
Right? It's like
it's all just like
I don't know. I don't disagree. Like I completely get your point. I personally do like the bracket. But if you put it compared to what you wanted it to be, I completely understand being like,
yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a bad bracket, and it's like I don't hate it or anything. But like I said, it's kind of for me, it feels kind of like to the floor of what they could have got away with. Like I don't think there's one person in that bracket who's going to be a world champion in the next 2 years. And not even Adam Cole.
Cool.
He's the only one that's probably debatable. To be honest,
that's a fair point.
The one thing I've seen people like argue about is like. There's no really AEW homegrown people besides Darby in the tournament. I it's understandable,
Yeah.
But then I can argue bigger, like the qualifying matches. So it's like you could have just done that as the tournament.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know, man. You could have. I would have done 16 or 32. Like I would have just gone fucking crazy with it and do what Joe said and just kind of make it the TV for a couple of weeks and you kind of make it all about the Owen, but you leave half an hour so you can still do like MJF and Wardlow. And you just do like one or two angles a week and do an hour and 30 of Owen.
I get
for like 2 weeks straight.
I get the people saying that there's not. It feels like a WWE people in the whole bracket and just like Darby's in there. But like if you look, like I think to me, I feel like Dax Harwood feels like an AEW guy in and out, like through and thick. Like to me, he's like I don't think of him as a WWE guy anymore. Like especially like if say Mox was in here. Mox to me feels like a WWE, like an AEW lifer, like to me, I don't even think of him as a WWE guy anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
So I understand, but at the same time, it's like you need these big names in the tournament for the first one too.
Yeah,
like
I'll be totally honest, and you're right to say like I get it, but I equally kind of like. Are we really looking at Samoa Joe and being like, oh, fucking? Another ex-Fed guy's rolled in. Like, come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? ROH guy,
that isn't even one of the things that was like all that like WWE, not enough homegrown sort of like that's genuinely one of the things that's not even crossed my mind.
When I saw people complaining
non-factor.
When I saw people complaining about that, I was like, I kind of like my issue was like what you had on to like I rather have like people from. I wish they did the thing that they did with the women's tournament. Happy like a Japanese bracket,
Yeah,
and have like those guys where you have that relationship with relationship with AAA. You could have used. I know they can't use Vikingo because it's Visa, and the Bucks are mad about it because they want to bring them. But like they could have done something over there and used. They could have got like Laredo Kid again.
Even if they just had like a Ren narrator, or just like, do you know what I mean? Like some of the New Japan strong people, or even if it's just some of the young lions and stuff. It's just I'd watch Buddy Murphy versus Ren narrator and Owen. I'd watch them run it back in a Owen Hart match all day long.
Which blood versus anyone, bro? Can you put my arch nemesis Demon Grins comment on the screen, please? We don't know who
Right.
Demon Grin is yet. We think it's CM Punk. In all seriousness, this is a good comment about Owen Hart. This is that genuinely is. I'm just using it to kind of my point. So I think this is fair. What I would say is, I think they could have done a better job defining what the tournament is. For a while, people were actually booking it as like a Young Lion tournament, borderline. And if they just went in that direction, that'd be one thing. I just think this is very important because I like the bracket. I want to reiterate that. But what I will say is, when there's no actual explanation of who gets in, it does make it a little weird. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, that's all.
From what I can just looking at the wrestlers, it just seems like a work rate kind of like a tournament, because that's what Owen was,
But
so that's what it is.
Is he? Oh, it's
kind of It's because they have so many work rates.
It kind of feels. Obviously, it's not randomly selected because it's probably been very carefully selected by like who they can beat and who can beat who and who needs what and etc. But it feels, it's kind of just a collection of guys. Like, not obviously, when I say guys, I don't just mean like just another guy on the roster, but it's just kind of like, it's not like you said. There's no Danielson, there's no Mox, there's no Punk, there's no Hangman, there's no like they're big. There's Adam Cole. You've got Adam Cole. Obviously you've got Samoa Joe, but it's like, I don't know. Man. I think it's just what I had in my mind when they announced it, which is obviously on me. Which, imagine if they'd done like a 16-man tournament and had New Japan strong people, they flew some people over from Japan.
The only match that
done needs to done that.
The only match that I think that was the closest match in my mind that I thought what the only tournament was going to look like was Phoenix versus Dante Martin and Phoenix versus Kyle O'Reilly. I thought that was going to be like what the tournament was going to look like,
What just about like the winner here? Are we getting babyface winners because it's the Owen, or is that not a factor? I genuinely don't know, to be clear. I'm intrigued, though.
I think Adam Cole's winning, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Adam Cole's going to wrestle the Joker, so Cesaro or something.
If Cesaro debuts, then I'm with Cesaro.
He would be a really, like...
I think I would put it on Cesaro, but at the same time, you don't want Adam Cole to lose another third big match. No, fourth,
unless that's the story, right? Yeah, unless that's the story.
Because wasn't it the story in NXT when he first got there? He lost every big match, and then he won. Like,
I remember that when he got to NXT, they was like, the intention was he was going to beat Drew for the belt immediately.
Oh, never mind that.
And there was no, you're right, because they shot an angle where he attacked Drew, him and the Red Dragon,
in New York, right?
Yeah, and I think there were some people that were like, he's smaller than we thought, Like, I think they got really weird matches. I think you're right. He did lose those matches because they were kind of adjusting to what they wanted him to be.
And
eventually, they did the big push.
Yeah, because he won the United States title. No, North American title.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I think that was 8 months after he debuted. So yeah.
I remember when he went viral for doing that fucking super kick on Ricochet.
Oh yeah,
remember that? Yeah, man. Like, he was in a really weird space. Adam Cole was in NXT for a while, where he was over to the point where there's got to be something to what Joe said about, and they probably looked at him next to Drew and was like,
No, I remember this being the thing because Andrade, they like heated him up to be like he won the belt when no one kind of expected him to. And I'm pretty sure Cole was supposed to win it at that spot. Anyway, it's not. This is a different conversation.
That would have been cool, Andrade versus Adam Cole at that time.
Because I think it didn't feel like Andrade was like on that line, and then all of a sudden he was the champ, which is awesome. I mean, he's the man. But he's another guy I wish was in this. But I understand he's got other stuff to do.
He lost to Darby, and then he probably would have lost again.
I think that's a fair point from Mad King as well. To be honest, the women's side does feel like a bigger deal.
Well, yeah, because I think part of that is there's less like, this is what happens when they do like, when they do like the Casino Battle Royal. When they do the women's version, it's like all of the women on their roster, right? They have all the top women in there, and like, where's the men? It's like, which guys can we throw out without feeling bad about it?
Like when the women's bracket, I feel like none of these women can lose because like they're big deals.
Exactly.
And the men, like they already have an established. Mm-hmm. And plus, most of these guys in this tournament have legacies already. Samoa Joe has a legacy.
Yeah.
Phoenix is known for being a badass, and then Kyle is,
he's
undisputed era.
Kyle.
Yeah.
So he's good.
He has awesome matches.
Kyle.
He's very good. Let's talk about Darby and Jeff. Give me a rating out of 10. How confident are you that this is good, Manny? Give me like an kind of idea here of where you're at on this. Are you confident?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident they're gonna go out there and kill each other. I think Darby. I don't know. I think we might not see Jeff again for a long time after this. We might. He might be just spending weeks in an ice bath, just like recovering. But I think Darby's just gonna. I think they're just gonna go out there and kill each other. Like Jeff's already teasing, like taking that dive, that suicide dive, and I can just picture like he's already. Oh, it's gonna hurt so bad. Like I can just picture all the stories that Matt Hardy's told him about the dive.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued what this looks like. Monty, where are you? Like,
well, they played another me in that trailer for that match.
No,
during the control thing with Tony. Yeah. They played another me during his when Jeff was talking.
Oh, that's what people were talking about. I saw some speculation about him coming out too. That would be interesting. Monty, are you fired up for this? Is this a Wrestle Purist dream match?
I wouldn't go that far. Huh? It's definitely an interesting one, especially with Jeff at the moment. Interesting to see how that one will play out because Jeff, it seems like he's struggling. Seems like he struggles. Sometimes it feels like he's out there moving in slow motion in pain, and then other times he can do a good 2 minute sprint.
I think
get his hits in. I just think Jeff should just wrestle like Randy Orton. Just go out there, do the hits, get out of there. when you try to do extended heat and stuff like that, and he's just struggling to move around and stuff, man. He can just go out there. You can just go out there and do.
Yeah, but here's the problem though. When Randy was 28, he fucking wrestled like a 40. He's smooth. Like look at what Randy's moves are. He does the DDT that he spends 20 seconds waiting for the people to come up for. He has that power slam, which he'll be able to do that until he's 50. When people see Jeff, man, like they want to, when he looks slow there, it bums him out a little bit. He used to be like this thrill seeker, I think it's difficult. I get you, but I do think it's hard for his style.
I'm more interested in the face paint that they're going to come out to.
He has a couple signature. He has a couple signature moves he can get away with doing without killing himself.
Look at this. Look at Reese slander in the chat. Talking about Randy Orton like he isn't the top baby face in the United States of America right now. You know what I mean?
Like I'm thinking like, what if like Jeff Hardy comes out and like Sting and Darby inspired face paint, and then Darby comes out and Jeff Hardy inspired face paint. I'm like, that sounds awesome to me. That's the highlight of the match.
That's probably the sort of shit they need to be doing. They just need to create a crazy atmosphere. I think that's just going to carry it through the match. That's kind of where I'm at with. That's where I'm at with my entire opinion on Darby versus Jeff. To be honest, I think that's what I said earlier. I think that the atmosphere for it and just that aesthetic of seeing Darby across the ring from Jeff Hardy will just get the crowd really fired up, and I feel like that will carry a good portion of the match in a lot of the, say if there is spots in it that are a bit awkward and slow, and I feel like the crowd will just fucking blitz over that anyway.
Totally honest, I genuinely would be surprised if this isn't good. I think it's more likely to be like genuinely very, very, very good than it is bad.
Yeah, I think Darby's
be so into it.
Darby's not going to let it be bad.
Yeah, so I mean, Darby's going to will it into being.
I mean, it won't be as good as Randy Orton and Darby Allin would be, but that's a different topic for another day, right, Monty? But
I don't know if Randy will let him do half the stuff to him.
That's fine. Just do suplexes for 10 minutes while Darby bumps.
Yeah.
I really think Dax and Adam Cole's going to be really good.
I think, yeah.
Let's do this, okay? What's your pick for it? Ready, Monty? Ready for this? Which match on this card will be the highest rated on cagematch.net this time tomorrow? That's my question. Chat, answer.
Cole versus Dax.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the way my go is going to be like Danhausen and Tony Nese, where everybody's going to go crazy about it. I'm like, and overhyping than what it really was. I just hope Nese just beats him in like a minute or two, and then Hook just comes out. But if I'm going I think it's going to be Dax and Adam Cole. That's going to happen.
On a card this stacked, like Tony Nese versus Danhausen shouldn't be going any longer than like 4
A
minutes.
minute. Yeah.
It'll be an angle, man. I think Tony Nese will be beating him up easy. Danhausen will make a comeback, and the commentators will sell it like, "Oh fuck, Danhausen's about to upset him," and then Smart Mark will panic and cheat, and Hook will come out after, and the place will pop.
Yeah,
for Hook,
that's
I guess.
just all it needs to be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I
Oh,
agree with you. That'll be the
it's gonna
highest
be
rated match. But it'll be interesting.
Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. I think that
Yeah.
might. I think
That
that
might be
might have
cool.
a high cage match rating. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just think I feel like Dax is gonna.
it's probably gonna be great. Manny's probably right.
He's-
It's probably gonna be great.
Yeah, this is what I mean with Dax and Carlos. Like Dax is so fired up about and if Dax is going out and this is his only match in the tournament, like he ain't going out sad. Like he's going out there and he's gonna fucking try it. He's gonna do everything he can to like squeeze fucking. He's gonna try.
I like how we talked ourselves into 3 great matches. First, we thought it was gonna be
great lineup.
We thought Ricky and Jungle Boy. Then we talked ourselves into the other old matches. I mean,
It's a
gonna
great
be an awesome
lineup.
night.
Let's go back to that Tony Jamie match. Any chance of an upset tonight? I asked my chat earlier, and I think there was only one person that picked it, but everyone's doing this. No, okay, this is interesting to me. The general prediction for this match is people say Tony, but like I'm not against it. It feels like Tony's winning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like
You can't have Tony lose to Jamie Hayter at this point. Like
do what you want, mate.
if this was in if this was in a few months after Jamie Hayter's on the other end of the Britt Baker feud, then it would be a different thing.
If this was at the
Hayter just doesn't. Hayter's just not the one to give Tony Storm her first loss this early.
If it was at the packed York Hall, you could do a different finish, right? It'd be different, but in Long Island or on Long Island, I should say, different deal altogether.
I just hope the crowd's. I hope the crowd's respectful. That's all I hope.
I think there will be because they do. The crowd, AEW audience is so weird with live crowds at the women's matches because like, they do have their small handful of people that do actually like. They do have the people that do actually come up for a little bit.
I always said that because we all know how the Twitter, if you're on Twitter,
I missed it and kept going like a pro. So
you did. The key word that before you start, like when you start going, the last word of Manny Sanders was respectful. So you read it as like, I hope they're into it, which is I do too. I mean, I hope both of those things. I mean, I actually think this has got a pretty good chance of having the people. I hope it gets like. It would be pretty cool if they were in the first hour. We can say that, right? I think it'd be nice rather than them being after fucking Danhausen's shtick with Nice.
Yeah, like second.
I hope they're second.
Yeah, I don't know, second. Give them the best chance possible.
What do we think Punk does tonight? Bills Mafia mentions that there's a good chance he gets booed. And honestly, he didn't say good chance. I did. I'll tell you about. I think he's almost certain to get booed. Actually, it feels like that's just how.
Silver's the hometown boy, and obviously.
Yeah. Do you know anything about that situation, Monty? Have you got anywhere we could read about perhaps John Silver's road to AEW Dynamite?
Something.
Yeah, something. I saw there was a great story. That's 2,500 words long.
Oh, that's it. John Silver.
Yeah.
He's on what's the name of the site? He's returning. He's returning to Long Island tonight, and I think he done an interview with this new cool website called WrestlePurist.com.
Wow.
And it's on there now. You can listen to it, you can read it, and it's really interesting. He talks about CM Punk that he's facing tonight. He's the hometown hero tonight as well. And CM Punk probably will get booed, to be honest, because he's facing another guy from Long Island. Obviously, he's got the MJF stink on him as well. So,
how much does he play into that? And what do we think? Are we going to get like a full dickhead CM Punk performance tonight?
I hope so.
Yeah.
He's facing he's such a face as well. Silver is
underdog baby face.
Yeah, he's so likable to the live audiences and stuff as well. And it's just.
Can I say something about the Hangman stuff? Because I didn't get talked about it last week.
Go for it.
I think people are going overboard with saying that he's a heel now. If you if you watch Hangman after he beat Danielson, like his other gimmick was he's like an executioner. Because if you hear him and other people, he's like, "I'm gonna bury you 6 feet deep," and like. He's just out there killing people. So I'm pretty sure he's like tired of everybody doubting him. And his thing is, I'm just gonna go out there and kill people, and I don't care if you're a good guy or a bad guy. Yeah, when you're coming at me, I'm the juror. I'm like the judge, juror, and executioner.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Mm-hmm. I am so interested by doing that promo and knowing that Punk's in Long Island, or again on Long Island. Fucking
That's
goons.
smart of them if they did that.
You know, how interesting is that, right? Like
Mhm.
you do that. That timing is so. You don't do that by mistake. Like it's just the reaction tonight's gonna be so. I'm so compelled by what this could be. And yeah, Hangman talking shit is.
And I think everybody just freaked out because they don't have. Everybody's used to the whoop-de daisy. What's going to go with babyface like slip on a banana peel, and Hangman's not like that. He's just like, I'm going to kick your shit in, and nobody's going to stop me.
There was a particularly interesting moment last week where he said his initial line of whatever it was, which, I'm gonna destroy him or whatever, and he stopped to let the people react to it, and there was this like visceral, very real, organic reaction of CM Punk fans standing up and chanting for Punk, and it was fucking awesome. Do you remember this? I was like he stopped talking, and it cut to the crowd, and you could see people with Punk shirts like standing up, being like, "Fuck this, man! We're not standing for this."
Then he called out the fan. I was like, "Oh, let's go, bro!" I was like, "Hangman, talk your shit, man."
I want it to be when they get in the ring at Vegas. I want it to have like genuine split crowd, not like we like both, so we're going to chant "Let's go" for both now. I want it to genuinely be like people are there for Punk, people are there for Hangman. Just get that vibe.
I know Hangman doesn't like the babyface thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, if this was like a real fight, like, how would you feel if like a contender went at you like, oh, I want your title? You're not gonna take it. You're gonna say you're gonna finish this guy. Like I see it all the time in UFC and boxing. Like the champion doesn't take anything from anybody.
Yeah, there's a way to do it. There's definitely
absolutely there is.
Easy way competition.
To do it. Yeah, and as the champion, the story is literally as simple as that. He's not going to just be like the victim at the end of this fairy tale story where Punk comes back and gets back, gets the big title back. That's not happening. This is his promotion. It's simple. It's conflict based on competition. The question is
competitiveness.
But the question is,
I think that's what happened with Holyfield and Mike Tyson. Like Holyfield wasn't going to let Mike Tyson roll him over.
Mm-hmm. And what really intrigues me is, does Punk though continue to be kind of oblivious? Does he stay pure babyface and remain all the way on just being like Hangman so what he wants, but I'm just here to try and win this? Or does Punk go to some of the tricks that we know of? Yes, it's just gonna be interesting. I don't know. I'm so excited by this match, but the build is really capturing my attention.
Okay. Yeah, it's just one of those builds. It's just you don't know where it's gonna go, but you just can't stop keeping your eyes on it, talking about it, etc. Wondering where it's actually gonna go.
Absolutely.
I think I still want to see that CM Punk heel turn, man. I think that's where I'm at. I can't really see that. I can't really see that changing.
Yeah.
But as far as like Hangman goes, with him kind of like walking that shade of grey at the moment, AEW kind of do that well because they do it so naturally. Like, so it's just kind of Hangman getting fired up, and it's like they've done it with Brian at the start as well. It's like he wasn't. Cody. It's like he wasn't a full-on heel, but he just wanted to kick people's heads in, and not that sort of competitiveness. Just like sometimes resulted in him saying dickhead shit sometimes. So it's like I like how they do that.
When Kingston feuded with Punk, I mean, King was almost objectively an asshole in that situation. He just picked a fight.
They loved him, but they loved him though.
Because it was real, and people believed that was what that person would do, and they didn't have to. I think, and you guys know this. Like, I'm not a big like shades of grey guy, but like anything can work if it's executed correctly. If you put in CM Punk and Hangman's hands, it'll be fine. Like, it's when you do it wrong is really the main problem. So
yeah, I think we're gonna look back and think of like that Eddie Kingston and CM Punk promo where he walked in on him in the backstage. It's gonna be like people are gonna look back in like 20 years, hopefully, that they're gonna be like, oh, this is like one of the biggest moments for AEW,
Yeah.
Before we finish up, do you think do you have a take on who will win that match?
The pay-per-view, you mean?
Yeah, of course.
I thought you was asking me if I thought John Silver was going to beat CM Punk. I was going to say yes.
Our boy, our friend.
Manny, you picked Hangman, right?
Yeah.
I think CM Punk's going to win. Summer of Punk, brother. I can't. If I got the pencil and I'm looking at 43-year-old CM Punk, and I'm looking at Summer of Punk against Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and that's someone I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Argue
I couldn't
against,
help myself.
even if you want Hangman to win, like that
I
is
can't
so
help
hard
myself,
to argue against. It's so like,
Yeah,
you know, the whole CM Punk age. Like, Hollywood brought it up last week as well. It's like CM Punk's 43, man. It's like,
Yeah.
you've got this year, maybe next year, and you know you might not have the chance to do it again.
You know, I would have Punk win it because, you know, it's like a lot of money, but I can also see Punk just telling that story of never winning the big one again, you know, coming back and being able to have good matches against these guys and being able to stand tall, but he could never beat the champ, you know. But I'd rather him just win the title.
Yeah.
You see, I think the key, and I've said this a million, but like, you can't go wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hangman's gonna have many years to be world champ and be the ace, but like,
yeah, like you said, this is the biggest match in AEW history.
I really believe that, and I saw you did a poll, Monty, right, about Danielson, Kenny, or this, and it's like
People did. I don't think people. Well, the people. I think the people who were so quick to say Omega Danielson were. I don't think they were really like deep in the perspective of like what this is to CM Punk. Like, I was looking up stats. I was looking up stats and shit. Like, CM Punk hasn't competed for a world title since like since like January 2013 against The Rock. He hasn't won a world title match since like early 2013. He was away for like how, you know what I mean? It's his first world title match in 9 years. It's CM Punk. I think a lot of people were kind of like missing out on that. And like, Hangman is truly like, someone said it was like, this match is like the product of AEW over the past 3 years. Because you've got that, the emergence of Hangman, and also the company being at a level where they can sign CM Punk. And it's just those two elements coming together, and it just makes this huge match.
Absolutely. And I think some people voted, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I think some people voted in like, as a match, obviously Kenny and Bryan has a certain like dream match quality that's just different, right? It's very hard to compare, but it's their biggest pay-per-view main event. I think that much is a pretty safe bet. So we'll see how it performs and such. All right. Manny, any final words here as we close up another Wrestle Purist podcast? Any final comments?
No.
Promotions?
I was gonna say just read my stuff on Wrestle Purist that's coming out soon.
Yes.
Montel said this was probably gonna be like an hour. And we ended up going 2 hours, which is awesome.
Yeah. I just decided I was going to make 2 hours. You know?
No, I'm not. This is awesome. I like I said, this is like the most time where I can actually talk to people. And about this. And it killed time. And now it killed time, so now I can watch Dynamite now.
That was my plan. I looked at that time. I said, I ain't spending this last hour on my own. Let's do a podcast. People will watch it. Yeah. Okay, Monty. Any final comments, pal?
Nothing really, other than Tony D'Angelo is the greatest sports entertainer prospect in the past ever.
Might be Daniel Garcia. They're copying his gimmick now.
I fucking love that guy, man. I really do. Like,
we're all happy.
So a part of it is ironic, but a big part of it is like so genuine. I think he really is the guy. Well, let's get out of here.
I'm happy for you, man. I promise I'm happy. All right, folks. Another Wrestle Purist podcast. Enjoy Dynamite. We'll see you back tomorrow, I'm sure, to talk about everything that we just previewed. Keep grinning. We'll see you on the next one. All hell.
Peace.
Later, guys.